His breath turns white as he sits nestled in a peaceful pine needle tea, a small luxury he allows himself during his isolated life in the mountains. Every morning, when not traveling, he enjoys this ritual, boiling the water with careful precision as he watches the fire in his humble camp flicker to life. There is a clockwork precision to his routine, dictated by the absence of modern technology and the constraints of nature. This routine life, while devoid of modern comforts, is one he actively chose. He had the freedom of movement, the splendor of the vast landscapes of the wilderness, and the solace of solitude. To him, this wasn't a bad life. It was about embracing the loneliness and silence, accepting them as constants rather than vices. Yet, this day diverges from the norm. While accustomed to the quiet and the occasional loneliness, an unanticipated encounter jolts him from his solitude. As he sets off on a walk, he faces a large, menacing bear. It catches him off guard, and in the ensuing struggle, adrenaline surges through his veins. Instinct propels him to fight for his life, his rational mind barely keeping pace with the primal urge to survive. Despite managing to fend off the bear enough to survive, he is left physically shattered, the bear's strength leaving wounds and a lingering sense of vulnerability. The encounter forces a moment of introspection. A cocktail of regret, despair, and shame washes over him as he questions his survival and purpose. Vulnerable and pondering his own mortality, he acknowledges the absence of his comrades, the void they left, and the reason behind his self-imposed isolation. The story shifts as he retreats into memories of his past life, a life far removed from the isolated mountains. He reflects on his previous existence filled with human connections and a lingering sense of inadequacy, where he was often the subject of bullying. This former life, fractured with struggles yet punctuated by moments of growth, unveils the layers behind his solitary mountain existence. He recalls a pivotal chapter of his life, a time in Japan that had shaped his aspirations and desires. His connection with Japan's culture, particularly through anime and manga, sparked a transformation in him. He recounts with nostalgia and regret his time with Satsuki, a girl who represented the possibility of something more, a different life he might have embraced had circumstances been different. This life in Japan, though brief, left an indelible mark on him. It was a palette of potential happiness, contrasting sharply with his life in America. The dissonance between those two periods in his life surfaces as he lies injured, facing a reality separate from both those worlds. Struggling with the concept of death, he grapples with past decisions. He had thought he accepted the end long ago, yet the visceral experience of survival whets a new defensive instinct, a reflection on the strangeness of the situation. The stark transition from Tokyo's urban sprawl to the untamed wilds of Grimgar challenges his perception of reality. As he contemplates the idea of dying alone, amidst the peaceful yet indifferent grandeur of nature, he questions his choices and destiny. The convergence between two disparate worlds blurs the edges of his reality. Grimgar, with its alien yet eerily familiar essence, forces a re-evaluation of his beliefs, his understanding of life and death, and the unpredictable trajectory of his future. Through a blend of introspective recount and present odds, he faces the reality of his situation, poised on the edge of life's uncertain road, with only his past for guidance and an unknown future unfurling before him. The concept of reality versus simulation haunts Haruhiro's thoughts. The idea that his life might not be real gnaws at him. He muses over a theory that once suggested reality might be a simulation within a simulation, an idea even debated by scientists. The theory implies that while the inhabitants would never become aware of being simulated, advancements in technology make the creation of such complex simulations plausible, yet unlikely. This line of thinking disturbs Haruhiro, yet seems logical, especially considering his mysterious transfer from Tokyo to Grimgar. It's unsettling to think a higher force toyed with the lives within this world. Yet, the absurdity of it makes Haruhiro feel a bit foolish for considering it. But deep down, it's hard not to wonder what is truly real. Lost in thought, Haruhiro is suddenly approached by a woman's voice, startling him. "Is someone watching?" she echoes him. Her calm presence pierces through his loneliness, grounding him back to reality. They talk, her voice soothing despite the weight of their exchange. He admits feeling watched, not understanding what is happening. As they converse, Haruhiro struggles with an overwhelming desire to disappear. Thoughts of ending it all drift through his mind, but her presence keeps him tethered. The woman understands his despair, yet doesn't let him spiral further, offering a sliver of hope. "There's a way." "Just one," she mentions, her words hanging in the air. Meanwhile, Haruhiro's heart races as he sneaks through the wilderness. Breath tight in his chest, he moves silently, acutely aware of his surroundings. His mind sharpens, instincts honed by the constant danger. He's being pursued, yet he doesn't want to lead his pursuer, a red-backed creature known for its viciousness, to his friends. Staying hidden, Haruhiro surveys the area, listening intently for the creature. It's close, lurking. He moves stealthily, making a split-second decision to face it head-on instead of endangering his comrades. With careful precision, he draws his weapons, ready to confront the redback directly. Haruhiro defies the redback's charge. The tension is palpable as he weaves through its attacks, his agility and training barely keeping him alive. Kuzaku and Enba rush to his aid, their presence shifting the tide. Kuzaku swings his massive shield, colliding with the beast, while Enba coordinates with Yume to attack strategically. The combat is intense. Yume uses her katana with finesse, slicing through the air with precision, distracting and paining the redback. Kuzaku and Enba's coordinated attacks keep the creature at bay, giving Haruhiro a moment to regroup. Suddenly, Haruhiro notices movement, a sign of another threat. Shuro Setora, an unexpected ally, steps into the fray, his action swift yet calculated. Haruhiro, impulsively protective of his team, threads between attacks. His heart pounds, determination fueling his every move as he leads the charge against the redback. The creature, sensing the shift in their coordinated defense, grows agitated. Haruhiro, driven by necessity, keeps shouting commands, his voice a beacon in the chaos. He knows they can't hold out forever, but each moment counts, every second bought a victory in its own right. Their struggle is relentless, but Haruhiro and his comrades synchronize their efforts, landing blows, evading the deadly swipes of the redback. The fight, arduous and perilous, draws Haruhiro and his team into a heightened state, focused solely on survival. Despite exhaustion, they push forward, the bond between them solidified under duress. The woman's earlier words linger in Haruhiro's mind, a reminder that even in simulated nightmares, camaraderie and resolve light the darkest paths. With resolve unbroken, Haruhiro steadies himself. They've survived another day, though the looming question of reality hangs over him. In moments of stillness, he ponders whether the struggles faced are orchestrated or genuine. Yet, in this world of fantasy and ash, the friendships forged in desperation validate his reality, offering a solace that transcends understanding. Haruhiro pushes his tired legs onward, resting them against the massive redback's body. No matter how much his mind screams at him to stop, whispering about the risks to his head, shoulders, back, and hips, he fights the urge. He was trying to slide his stiletto into the beast, but it seemed like an endless endeavor. Why push on, if not for the world he's striving to create? He is fervent to savor every available moment while it lasts. And within his soul, he knows if he didn't, he'd regret it. Haruhiro and the team continue their journey, edging toward Thousand Valley by the scenic Kurigane and Rinsum Mountains. Their objective is to meet Alternans 250 kilometers away in the southern reaches of this vast wilderness. Their path is fraught with chaos but filled with ideal aspirations. Recently ravaged by natural disasters, the world seems torn apart. Cities shake as great tremors rattle boundaries, forging new landscapes. Winds batter the open plains, undeterred by the steadfastness of the hardiest inhabitants. Regardless, they pursue a traveler's path leading them forward. Yet, when Haruhiro and his group blaze down their path, they tread a dangerous route. Somewhere hundreds of kilometers away, Ultima awaits. Set against coastal waters, Setora had once observed its whereabouts on a map she'd stumbled upon. However, the prospects of reaching it seemed bleak. The road ahead looks long, almost too long. Haruhiro reconciles with the fact that the journey would cover 700 to 800 kilometers, noting the unpleasant nature of such an endeavor. They must continue their advance with careful determination. Their other challenge lies in the valley's hostile depths. Past the Nahi Desert lay fields rife with conflict. Once prosperous, civil war now fractures this terrain where the alliance of kings commanded dominance. Nevertheless, the area retains a daunting foreboding for those brave or foolhardy enough to venture there. Then there were the treacherous swamps. Undead creatures moved silently here, obstructing progress. Yet the ever-resilient Haruhiro keeps to his decision not to turn back. They are walking headlong into the heart of potential conflict. When approaches prove unsafe, Soma and his troop pause and deliberate. While Haruhiro's team works out a strategy, Team Forgan lurks in the background, looming threateningly. When asked, Kuro, a seasoned warrior from the Daybreakers, suggests Haruhiro's group proceed with guidance from sacred wyverns. Although faith appears questionable, it provides Haruhiro further direction. Setora wisely refrains from doubting them, entirely reliant on Haruhiro and his crew continuing steadfast in their strategy. Despite the ongoing drive within Haruhiro's heart, formidable dangers do catch up with them. They confront a desolate spot, named, for lack of better words, the Mound of Katanas. Previous inhabitants met grisly ends on these haunted ground, under No-Life King's curse. Haruhiro and team weren't the first to come across this wretched place, and they most likely wouldn't be the last. The eeriness hangs thick, adding an uncomfortable element to their stop. Here, they pull supplies, water skins and scraps of armor, from the abandoned corpses. All seem dubiously bad, yet filled an immediate purpose, thereby fortuitously preserving their hope. Haruhiro ponders gloomy thoughts about the curse, wondering introspectively, did something just move? The sudden sound of distant cries interrupts Haruhiro's internal musings. Startled, they see wyverns firing on villages of gathered Nayas, launching relentless attacks in reciprocation for the loss of one of their own. Their prior allegiance to the villagers' cause weakens as Haruhiro motions decisively, directing his crew back to the line they walked. They reclaim safety in numbers, together managing care for the Nyas. Yet the reality of survival in these challenging times casts continuous shadows. Soon, multiple days elapse as the crew ventures into new landscapes. All the while, Haruhiro cannot shake the distant vision of a land forever blighted by hostility. Conversation remains considerable around practical ways, maintaining quiet discipline as they continue encountering remnants of battle. As they establish camp, Haruhiro and Meri examine their haunting victory. Meri's perceptive glance searches him, drawing his stance momentarily into question. Her closeness feels intrusive, conjuring reminders of things past. He deflects the uncomfortable glance, something playing focus in his mind. Observing requirements for survival and chance, Meri responds unflinchingly when Setora, leader of the day, moves forward. Her voice resounds, softly spoken, Haru, in inquiry. "You are my lover," she claims without hesitance, monitoring his resiliency to respond with guarded firmness. He sputters and hesitates awkwardly, unnerved by the suddenness. Not surprising Meri, her intentions merit considerable presence. The gentle, palpable encounter brings realization. Haruhiro's struggle lies amidst a fundamental understanding, ever divided by confidence. "Well," Setora muses lightly, "were you expecting an answer?" Within seconds, a noise interrupts, stealing away their focus entirely from the ripe tension lingering between them. High-pitched, sharp, its shrill edge vibrates where Nayas hover cautiously amidst the brush. Chaos unfolds rapidly as the team collectively prepare to battle their emergent enemy, banding together. Haruhiro moves fluid-like, sidling parallel to visible looming discomfort. They summon formidable energies, destroying remains wherever the air stiffens, screeching with hostility. The noise builds, stressing Haruhiro's anxiety to climax in complication. This cacophony continues for days. When finally cleared, it leaves them restless. Yet the harrowing experience draws his fleeting thoughts momentarily to simple matters. They were Ember, Setora mentioned assuredly, gesturing matter-of-factly at the scene before Haruhiro. Setora's perceptive understanding brings clarity through her additional explanation about the guerrilla troop. "Don't dwell, be ready." Bracing for anything to follow, they ultimately decide not to dwell on sudden losses and gain surer footing in the moment, marching through forward challenges until sanctuary draws them elsewhere. Standing united, they inspire one another to push their limits, intent on preserving cherished memories even as harrowing spectacles unmask daily discomforts. Will Haruhiro manage to guide his team through such exhaustive turmoils, holding close to their shared fervent dreams? Unquestionably, much lies unforeseen, beckoning from behind gathered rumors and cascading events across their path. Haruhito stands in the midst of his comrades, feeling the urgency of the situation. They've narrowly escaped an impending threat, the air around them heavy with tension. Haruhito reflects on their recent experiences, understanding the risk involved in coming this far. They faced guerrillas, driven by relentless pursuit, and he feels the exhaustion settling in. Guerrilla troops, with their instinctive and cunning tactics, had been on their heels. The thought of how they succeeded in not falling prey to the guerrillas brings a cold shiver. The enemy's pursuit had been relentless, a drumbeat marking their chase, an ominous pattern they could hear even now, the steady, oppressive rhythm that has haunted their every step. The party had hoped they'd gained enough ground to allow for some respite, but relief is fleeting. Haruhito thinks back on their freeing the redback wolf, which had not deterred the enemies. Their resolve hadn't diminished, if anything, this had emboldened the guerrillas, as if to prove they'd not falter or deter easily. Amidst these thoughts, Haruhito's fatigue is palpable. His body aches from the constant strain, and mentally, he battles the need to retreat into fatigue. I'm exhausted. My legs ache. My body feels heavy. I've had enough, the thought circles his mind, a silent lamentation of his burdensome weariness. Despite this, moving forward isn't negotiable. He knows they cannot stop here. His comrades, equally drained, press onward without complaint. They've all stepped into a mess far beyond initial expectation, deeply entwined in a struggle they didn't anticipate. Yet Haruhito, despite his weariness, acknowledges a certain bond forged through adversity. Setora, pragmatic but distant, stands apart as she keeps guard over the situation. Her perspective is clear, they need to push through to endure. As they continue, Haruhito ponders the nature of their relationship, wondering if a friendship can be born merely out of shared hardships. In an attempt to break through his own mental block, Haruhito recalls the cautionary words from a familiar voice within his thoughts, a voice that's perhaps merely his subconscious nudging him toward vigilance. Memories and doubts linger as cloak figures approach, and Haruhito can't shake the sensation of being perpetually hunted. The drumming returns, sending a chill through the party. The guerrillas were close, biding their time to pounce. The sound was a stark reminder they were never truly safe, a haunting note of the peril they were enmeshed within. In a sudden turn, Setora presents a plan to Haruhito. Her close proximity draws a reaction from him, a momentary discomfort underscored by an unspoken tension. She explains her idea, gently but insistently, and despite any unease, Haruhito agrees, realizing the importance of their cooperation in this dire moment. While Haruhito's mind races with the echoes of the chase, his comrades try to maintain a hopeful air. They discuss their situation, some moments lightened by banter, and a bit of absurdity, as Setora in an enigmatic manner, admits her intentions are drawn from likes and intrigue towards Haruhito. Amid these distractions, the drumming rhythm intensifies again, demanding their immediate attention. They prepare themselves for the fight or flight necessity that will soon follow, the deciding moment just within reach. As they advance, Ember guides them towards a strategic vantage point overlooking a cliff. The height provides a formidable natural defense, but also symbolizes a daunting challenge. There is no room for error, a realization settling over Haruhito like a heavy shroud as he peers into the abyss, where not long ago their foes had been driven away. The cliff seems insurmountable to the weary party, but Haruhito embraces a steely resolve. It's here or nowhere, acknowledging the peril but embracing the need for movement regardless. Thoughts flit about his mind, the futility of their task, the imagined doom looming over every step or decision. Every problem seemed amplified, but dwelling wasn't an option, movement was. The party, though physically and mentally exhausted, understands that their survival hinges on risk, a leap of faith across treacherous terrain. Stillness wasn't enough to save them. As they prepare for what comes next, Haruhito's determination is clear, to persevere or to fall with dignity. With an unspoken unity, they face whatever awaits them beyond the cliff, each step echoing a resolve forged under pressure, bound by the hope of victory over despair. In the dim light of the night, Haruhiro stands at the precipice of a critical moment. He's consumed with thoughts racing through his mind, his friends, the jump they made, and the river rushing below. The urgency of the situation crystallizes into a single, instinctive action. Haruhiro shouts, feet first, and leaps, the roar of the river growing thunderous as he hits the water. The impact is intense, and for a moment, all he can comprehend is the noise and the sensation of the water engulfing him. Once through the tumultuous transition from land to water, Haruhiro fights to orient himself. Nearby, Yume's voice cuts through the chaos, guiding him toward safety. "Over here." "This way, Haru-kun," she calls. Haruhiro swims toward her voice, and soon he and Yume are reunited, though the situation is far from safe. Still marooned in the river's current, they are in constant danger of being swept away. The night's precariousness is accentuated by the moon and stars reflecting on the water. Haruhiro spots Mary closer to the shore, attempting to make her way to solid ground. Shihoru's voice echoes with concern, urging Haruhiro on, and he reassures them, "I'm heading your way." The group reconvenes at the riverbank, but there's no time to rest. Haruhiro becomes aware of Kuzaku's absence. The tension in the air thickens as they realize something is wrong. Haruhiro rushes back into the water, spotting a prone figure. It's Kuzaku, unconscious and submerged, a chilling reminder of the night's peril. They drag Kuzaku to shore with urgency. Mary immediately springs to action, guiding Haruhiro through the life-saving steps. They work together, performing chest compressions and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Haruhiro is focused and determined, though fear gnaws at him. He blows air into Kuzaku's mouth, silently pleading, "Kuzaku." Moments stretch into eternity until finally, Kuzaku coughs, water spilling from his mouth. Relief floods through Haruhiro, and Mary's words are a balm in the night air, "Good, good, good." Sighs of relief ripple through the group, but Haruhiro's mind races with guilt and a realization of their vulnerability. The gravity of their situation is palpable, and it's made clear how fragile life can be. As night turns to day, their efforts culminate in a somber sense of unity, a bond forged through the shared ordeal. Haruhiro reflects on their narrow escape and the unknowns that still lie ahead. Satoru's calm, pragmatic approach injects a spark of humor back into their grim reality. She reassures and teases Haruhiro, calling him boring, an oddly comforting jab. Despite the banter, the weight of their mission presses heavily on Haruhiro. They all yearn for safety, a realm that still feels distant and dreamlike. Yet in the midst of it all, Haruhiro's thoughts inevitably drift back to their lost companions. The shadows of Minato and others still linger, and their absence reverberates through his mind. With dawn approaching, they prepare to move once more. As they trek, Haruhiro and Satoru share a moment of introspection about their journey and the friends they've lost. It's a reflection of how the past is woven into their current struggles, merging loss with the resolve to continue on. The morning is brighter now, and birds announce the day with their singing. Haruhiro finds clarity in the light, his mind more settled. He contemplates the nature of existence, of light and warmth, of living not for oneself but for others. It's the camaraderie, the shared fight to live, that gives Haruhiro strength. Walking alongside his friends, Haruhiro encounters Kichi and Enba discussing the peculiarities of a mythical creature, the Naya. Laughter punctuates their conversation, a reprieve from the darkness of the prior night. Their journey continues until they reach a vantage point offering a view of farmers' fields. The sight before them is unexpected, it's a village. The realization that they have reached a possible haven imbues them with hope. Would it really be that bad? Haruhiro muses aloud, pondering the implications of the village ahead. He considers the possibilities, allies, shelter, maybe even rest. However, their experiences have taught them caution is prudent, so they approach the village warily. As they stand at the cusp of civilization or perhaps another unknown danger, Haruhiro, Shihoru, Kuzaku, Satoru, and the rest are poised for whatever awaits. This tentative step toward community marks another pivotal point in their odyssey, a chance for solace amidst an uncertain journey. Together, they venture onward. Mary glances subtly at Haruhiro, concern flickering in her eyes before she looks away, trying to hide whatever emotion she's wrestling with. In the village they recently avoided, the structures seemed unstable, hinting at the inhabitants dealing with less than favorable conditions. The villagers appear non-threatening, engaging in simple tasks like tending fields and caring for livestock. Haruhiro and his group stealthily observe from a distance, unsure whether to approach or keep their distance. These residents, likely just farmers, could view Haruhiro's team as intruders or even threats. Contemplating whether to engage peacefully or rob for survival, Haruhiro struggles with the moral implications. Opting for caution, Haruhiro begins to survey the landscape. While exploring, Haruhiro stumbles upon wheat-like plants. Tentatively, he considers them as potential food, yet unsure of their taste. Meanwhile, a sense of paranoia looms over him. Worry infuses his thoughts as he senses a presence behind him. Increasingly anxious, Haruhiro realizes he is indeed being followed by someone determined and possibly dangerous. As fear mounts, Haruhiro's instincts command him to flee. He maneuvers through fields, dodging potential threats. Turning for a moment, he sees a pursuer, a formidable-looking man who doesn't waver. Haruhiro scrambles to escape, heading towards a boundary fence that could offer some semblance of safety. The chase leads Haruhiro into the mountains. Despite the added elevation, the man persists, still trailing behind with unnerving resolve. Haruhiro, knowing he cannot shake the pursuer alone, resolves to lead him into a trap set by his allies. Most notably, Shihoru waits to enact their strategy. With practiced precision, Shihoru executes an ambush using her magic. Dark, her shadowy familiar, adds to the distortion as he engages the enemy. The tactic succeeds in bewildering the pursuer momentarily. Yet, it becomes evident the opponent isn't easily felled, his skills and instincts honed. As the skirmish unfolds, Yume boldly engages the enemy in melee combat. She fights bravely, showing tenacity despite the opponent's overwhelming strength. Kuzaku, using his size and shield, joins the fray, but even his efforts feel inadequate against their foe's skill set. Haruhiro keeps his focus, evaluating from higher ground. He internalizes a decision to act with caution yet readiness, blending into the environment stealthily. Meanwhile, his team fights valiantly, each showing distinct abilities. Ember joins, exhibiting deftness and power to match that of the attacker. In a pivotal moment, Haruhiro's internal conflict reaches a peak. He considers the nature of combat, whether fate guides him or he controls his own actions. He decides it hardly matters in the immediacy of battle. The time for deep contemplation is gone, and instinct takes over. Attempting a more active role, Haruhiro approaches from the side, stealthily positioning himself. He aims his weapon with precision, joining forces with his companions in a concentrated assault on their pursuer. An exchange of attacks ensues, each side leveraging their full capabilities. The attacker reveals unexpected resilience. Despite Dark's magical barrage and the collective efforts of Haruhiro's team, the enemy withstands initial attacks. Seizing a moment, Haruhiro makes a bold move, striking at a potentially vulnerable angle. He accompanies this with a silent plea for fortune to favor their side. In the ensuing melee, the opponent's resolve begins to falter. Injured and outflanked, the attacker finally staggers, hinting at an opportunity for Haruhiro's group to gain the upper hand. Haruhiro lunges, feeling the weight of his decision, a move combining courage, desperation, and unity. Yet, victory comes with sobering undertones. Haruhiro, grappling with the adrenaline and aftermath, reflects on the necessity of violence in their survival. He knows they will never truly be safe, but working as a team, forging bonds over trials, lends a small sense of respite. Together, Haruhiro and his group stand amidst their efforts, united in triumph and renewed resolve to face what challenges lie further ahead. In the midst of uncertainty, Haruhiro finds himself at the mercy of a group wearing green coats. One man, who seems to be the leader, suggests, "Sorry, everyone." I'm really sorry, showing reluctance to harm Haruhiro despite the circumstances. They let Haruhiro relax, trying to ease tensions. Another man, Jesse, with grey eyes, advises Haruhiro, who's restrained, about their language barrier. With attempts at reassurance, they navigate a complex situation where trust is a delicate commodity. The story shifts to Mary, who, like her companions, is bewildered by their strange surroundings in what Jesse calls Jesseland. The group's ordeal on the mountain has left them in a vulnerable state. While the captors aren't overly hostile, they remain enigmatic. Mary frets over Haruhiro's unconscious state, her concern mounting as he lies still, his face pale like a crescent moon. Worry eats at Mary, who's been a priest in her past but is at a loss given her lack of familiarity with the healing spells needed now. Haruhiro's difficulty in waking up exacerbates her anxiety. Meanwhile, Jesse, somewhat understanding, assures that Haruhiro is probably not suffering much, offering a rare moment of solace. As the group walks along a path surrounded by flourishing green fields, they try to make sense of their situation and their captors. Mary notices these people's peculiarities, languages, appearances, and behaviors are unlike any she's seen before. There's an unsettling uniformity among Jess's group, yet distinctiveness too. Tension rises when a woman among them starts yelling at other villagers in a language unfamiliar to Mary. Jess's status as the leader of these people remains unclear, blurring the lines of friend and foe. Mary's internal dialogue battles with her outward composure. Anger simmers beneath the surface, struggling to remain contained because she knows provoking Jesse could spell disaster. Jesse attempts to soothe the situation by advising Mary to let his shaman treat Haruhiro. Although Jesse acknowledges Mary's probable inability to cast advanced healing spells, this doesn't calm her. Despite being a priest, she hasn't acquired the necessary spell to heal him. Mary's frustration grows, driven by fear of losing Haruhiro, though she tries to trust Jess's intentions. Shihoru, caring and anxious, tackles practicalities. She considers the feasibility of some spells, pressing for solutions to Haruhiro's condition. Both Mary and Shihoru experience a sudden realization of their affinity for Haruhiro, sparking deeper worries about their friend's peril. Mary's relationship with Haruhiro transcends mere camaraderie, steeping the situation in personal stakes. Jesse, displaying competence in survival, shifts focus. He comforts Mary with a lighter demeanor, mentioning the significance of their mischievous escapades, a subtle nod to rapport building under duress. His words are meant to provide a little humor with the declaration, "You sure, kid?" "This kid's a good thief," praising Haruhiro's stealth abilities. They reach a village, quaint with its low structures and open plaza. The village exudes an eerie normalcy. There, Jesse guides Mary to Haruhiro's side, urging her, "Come here, priest. You can heal him. You want to do it yourself, right?" Mary is quick to respond, administering a healing spell with practiced hands. But even as Haruhiro's physical injuries mend, it's his spirit that seems most in need of healing. Mary's realization of this emotional depth leaves her hesitating, burdened by her sentiments. She grapples with her feelings for Haruhiro, fighting the urge to express them. As surreal as the moment is, Mary thanks Jesse for his aid, though wary about their growing dependence on him. Haruhiro remains unconscious, a silent testament to their struggles. Despite Mary's own emotional turmoil, she acknowledges that Jesse, though strange, has kept his word, a glimmer of hope in an unusual predicament. Amongst her internal conflict, Mary's reflection on Setora, Haruhiro's temporary lover, surfaces. Setora's absence is conspicuous, adding another layer of emotional complexity. Mary's contemplations during Haruhiro's healing trigger a conflict between her devotions and their tangled interpersonal dynamics. The coating of normalcy cracks when Jesse mentions Setora's past link to the Naya, adding to the mysterious allure of these creatures. Its clear and unexpected bond has formed among Mary's group and Jess's, forged through shared experiences and interdependence. Jess's steady communication provides some clarity, helping bridge differing worlds. The conversation turns to their survival stories. Jesse confronts Shihoru about their origins. Piecing together their journey reveals harrowing battles that hint at more formidable threats beyond human or inhuman figures. This shared backstory forges a new connection, with Jess's skepticism slowly giving way to understanding. A feeling of relief washes over Mary, although she knows her expression of willingness to do anything to aid Haruhiro sparks an unintended frenzy among her team. Yet, her genuine commitment is evident, symbolizing her quiet resolve to protect her friends. Jessie, amused by their interactions, is touched by their dedication, acknowledging their effort as foolish but enduring. This mutual appreciation is a comforting development amidst uncertainty, a testament to resilience and emergent bonds in the face of danger. As they stand united in their survival, it becomes apparent that their strength lies not just in magic or combat prowess, but in their shared lives and mutual support. As the group stands before Jessie, the atmosphere is tense. Shihoru, gathering her courage, asks Jessie directly, "What does that mean?" Jessie's cryptic response, "It's give and take. You get me," lingers in the air, leaving everyone in a mix of confusion and apprehension. They aren't in a position to be taking things lightly or making assumptions. Mary and the others silently ponder what this means for their future. Elsewhere, within the depths of Jessie Land, Kuzaku finds himself alone, encountering a woman clad in a green coat. The woman in the green coat, who he realizes must be Yoni, seems to observe him intently, her cat-like eyes examining him with cool scrutiny. Kuzaku wonders if this is a test, if his strength or resolve is being judged by those around him. Kuzaku can't help but notice the odd but striking color of her eyes, a vibrant green, yet strangely ominous. Kuzaku is uncertain and hesitates slightly at first, unsure about his place among here. Yoni gives him little indication but points to a mound of logs, implying him to get to work. Drawn to the pile, he feels daunted yet motivated. Though the task seems straightforward, he grapples with the weight of both the situation and the logs. Yoni observes him closely, and despite her stern demeanor, a fleeting smile crosses her lips, hinting at some unspoken understanding between them. Kuzaku mumbles to himself, trying to pep himself up for the hard work ahead. Why am I struggling alone, he wonders, questioning whether the physical task really symbolizes a larger trial. Yoni's silence speaks volumes, and Kuzaku knows it's about proving himself worthy. As he begins work, Yoni approaches, offering him something extraordinarily unexpected, a piece of food that she had tucked away in her coat. It's a humble offering, but to a starving Kuzaku, it seems like a feast. The act seems almost sacred, and he accepts it gratefully, trying to savor every bite. Delicious. Delicious, what's delicious, anyway? Kuzaku muses. The simple snack ignites a warmth inside him, and he can't help but feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude toward Yoni. It gives him the energy and resolve to keep going. Working through the day, the job proves more than just taxing physically. Yoni stays nearby, an enigmatic presence who seems to understand more about him than anyone ever has. She passively observes, ensuring he doesn't falter, a surprising gesture Kuzaku interprets as some form of unseen encouragement. As the day winds down, the looming reality of their situation hits Kuzaku. Jessie Land, for all its mystery, feels like a place that could become their permanent residence. Inside, though, he battles with fear that they might be stuck here forever, unable to return to Alterna or regain the life they once had. Struggling with the weight of the thoughts, he finds himself confiding to Yoni about his uncertainty, about whether he will see his friends again and if they are safe. Though Yoni doesn't outwardly respond, Kuzaku senses her silent acknowledgement and feels strangely comforted by her presence. Reflecting on his friendship with Haruhiro and the others, Kuzaku contemplates the weight of their bond, admiring Haruhiro's strength and endurance. Our leader's got sleepy eyes, and he's not anything unusual, not some sort of superhuman hero, but he's still amazing, Kuzaku thinks. He realizes that, without Haruhiro, his journey to this moment wouldn't have been possible. Kuzaku also ruminates on Mary's perspective, pondering whether she truly sees him as a friend or something more. While Mary remains something of a mystery to him, her deep-seated loyalty and courage continually inspire him. He hopes that by proving himself and supporting everyone along the way, Mary might come to see him in a new light. But there remains an unspoken tension. Kuzaku senses that Mary holds deeper feelings for Haruhiro, which he struggles to accept, yet he is resolved to respect their dynamic. But he wonders, What if Haruhiro doesn't realize Meri's feelings? The complexities of their relationships feel tangled, especially with the inclusion of Setora, whose open interest in Haruhiro adds another layer of uncertainty. Inwardly, Kuzaku resolves that despite these complicated emotions, he'll support whatever makes the group happy. He recognizes that everyone has their roles and places, and wonders whether offering a helping hand, providing strength, might be enough to play his part. Ultimately, Kuzaku feels a mounting desire to see his friend succeed, and that becomes his compass in the unfamiliar and unsettling world of Jessie Land. He quietly promises himself, if they are happy, I can grin and bear it. Just as he resolves these thoughts, he stumbles on a loose piece of ground, nearly losing his grip on the log he's carrying. Yoni's quick shout snaps him back to the moment, and he recuperates quickly, promising to be more careful. Her calm but watchful gaze is both reassuring and challenging, propelling him onward through this foreign land and its mishmash of challenges. Kuzaku's journey amid the uncertainties of Jessie Land encapsulates a larger personal growth and a deep realization of bonds, the importance of each relationship forged along the way. As night falls, he prepares to rest, but his mind remains focused, considering how every action taken here might determine their fate in this unknown world. Yume watches Totokin aimlessly, contemplating the bow's effectiveness. Her arrows might not reach far, but in the mountains, little matters more than a well-timed shot. Totokin's expression is unreadable, just like the mountain's enigmatic paths. The grass rustles gently beneath their feet, and the air is thick with a sense of adventure as they continue their journey. Yume observes Totokin as he turns away, pointing at his chest innocently. She laughs, amused by his way of communication, her voice echoing around them. Tuoki, she repeats, trying various intonations, her eyes lighting up with each attempt to say his name more accurately. Totokin claps his hands, as if applauding her efforts, and Yume feels a swelling satisfaction. Yume extends her hand to Totokin, who stands mystified. Tuokin for Yume's bow, she muses. Their hands meet in a small but profound connection, a silent agreement in their unspoken language. Totokin slowly understands her intentions as they continue along their path, her hand in his, offering reassurance. This communication opens a new world to Totokin, who had been confined to his previous understanding of words. With Yume's guidance, he begins to grasp not just the meaning of their exchanges but the warmth of companionship. An epiphany of sorts occurs in his eyes, reflecting a bond that transcends wordless dialogues. They have found a rhythm, a shared melody, in their silence. As they journey further, Yume reflects suddenly, pondering what it might be like to be reborn as something different, a wolf dog, strong and perceptive. This thought gives her resolution and a strange comfort. Yume drinks in the scenery, her senses alive to the forest's whispers and the subtle presence of Totokin by her side. Every rustle of leaves and distant animal cry adds to her vivid imagination. Onwards they march, watching the sun lower its gaze over the horizon. Yume suddenly senses something amiss, a disquiet in the air. She mutters to Totokin about feeling watched, something lingering just at the edge of perception. The eerie sensation is underscored by a sudden flurry as a bird takes flight, a creature unsettled by more than just human presence. Yume and Totokin lock eyes, a shared intuition sparking between them. Despite the awareness of an unseen watcher, Yume maintains her calm. She urges Totokin forward, bolstered by her internal convictions. Totokin complies, quietly adjusting his stride to match Yume's deliberate pace. There's an unspoken understanding, a common purpose that propels them into the unknown. Meanwhile, the narrative shifts to Shihoru, who finds herself in a strange conversation. Enclosed within Jess's compound, she experiences the sense of an encroaching past, the weight of something ungraspable. Satora's words punctuate this unsettling feeling, reinforcing Shihoru's own half-formed suspicions. There's discussion of Nayas, mystical creatures used as workers, yet shrouded in mystery and mistrust. Satora sharply remarks on Shihoru's perceptions, pointing out the inherent contradictions. Shihoru's discomfort grows, yet she endures, pursuing Jess's narrative through its winding, inconclusive tones. Each word spoken seems to peel back a layer of their reality, revealing more questions than answers. Compelled by something deep and unyielding, Shihoru follows Jessie further into this enigma. Her internal landscape becomes a maze of fleeting thoughts and forgotten revelations. It's a place where memories and echoes of past selves intermingle, the borders of consciousness blurred by questions with no clear answers. Eventually, Shihoru finds herself standing still, trapped in the web of her thoughts. As she tries to cement her grasp on reality, the presence of an unknown figure, just blue eyes shining from the shadows, pierces her mind. It's both familiar and strange, prompting feelings she can't quite articulate. In a rare moment of clarity, she asks if she'd spoken aloud, attempting to breach the fog that clouds her memory. Her voice sounds foreign, even to herself. But the man with the blue eyes, a figure almost otherworldly, remains silent, offering only his steady gaze in return. Shihoru doesn't find answers, only more layers to unpeel in her ongoing quest to understand her past and her place within this peculiar world. As the story unfolds, Shihoru finds herself deep in conversation with Jessie. It begins with Jessie trying to share something important with Shihoru, something about memories and how they work. Jessie explains, "For my part, at least, there's no helping it. You'll even forget that you've forgotten." These words stir Shihoru's mind, bringing memories and forgotten moments to the surface. The concept of memories is portrayed as tangible, almost like objects one can hold and examine, intricately carved and etched into reality. Shihoru grapples with the notion of where she is and where she came from. Jess's words echo in her mind, "You came to Grimgar from Japan, too, didn't you?" This question becomes a focal point for Shihoru, blurring the lines between where she is and where she once belonged. There's a sense of dissonance as she tries to connect the dots between the tower that never opens and her arrival. The narrative then shifts to the enigmatic existence of the Red Moon. Jessie questions Shihoru, "When you first saw the Red Moon, what did you think?" The Red Moon becomes a symbol of mystery and otherworldliness, an embodiment of the strange circumstances binding this world together. Jessie suggests the uncanny events may not be mere coincidences, hinting at deeper, perhaps intentional, truths underlying their reality. Jessie reveals that many forget the sight of the Red Moon and questions the nature of truth itself, leaving Shihoru pondering her own understanding. Engrossed in her thoughts, Shihoru listens as Jessie discusses the world around them. Jessie mentions they are currently in Jessie-land, a place as strange as it sounds, where various creatures and races coexist under a blend of medieval fantasy and the curiosity of a simulated game world. Shihoru's mind spins as Jessie introduces her to the gummos and the orcs. It's like reality, but at the same time, it's its own world, Jessie remarks, highlighting the complex mechanics of this universe. Jessie delves into an enlightening discussion about the social structures of orcs and gummos, explaining that orcs are considered inferior due to their lack of intelligence, whereas gummos, though appearing similar to orcs, possess more nuanced personalities. This conversation sparks curiosity in Shihoru about the authenticity of their existence and society's perceptions. She learns that despite appearances, the gummos are not so different from humans, they work hard, have education systems, and their demeanor depends heavily on their environment. As their conversation deepens, Shihoru and Jessie walk towards the fields, where Jessie compliments her magic skills. "I never thought someone could use it like that. Besides, you don't look like a mage." Jessie requests Shihoru to demonstrate her magic missile again, curious to understand its mechanism. Shihoru obliges, connecting with her magical source, Dark. She concentrates and sends Dark forth with the intent to replicate her skill. The spell travels swiftly, changing direction sharply upon her command, which surprises and fascinates Jessie. Jessie reveals her training with Wizard Yuruka and Wizard Shirai, impressive names in the Mags Guild, acknowledging Shihoru's prowess. As their exchange unfolds, Jessie discloses she is not truly a mage, though her words speak more of her self-doubt than her capabilities. As Shihoru reflects on her own journey, she recalls the emotional weight of learning magic missile as every mage does. It's a rite of passage, a key to understanding the deeper aspects of magic itself. Their conversation is lightened with humor as Jessie offers an unexpected compliment about Shihoru's appearance. Shihoru, taken aback, stumbles over her words, illustrating a charming interplay between the two. This moment of levity underscores the growing bond between them amidst the serious undertones of their discussions. The scene shifts as Shihoru hears a familiar voice calling her name. Yume enters the scene energetically, bringing along her infectious enthusiasm. She is accompanied by a gummo, clearly comfortable in her presence. Yume lifts Shihoru playfully, depicting the strong camaraderie and trust they share. As they move together, Shihoru observes Yume's ease in interacting with everyone, a quality she admires. The sense of belonging and friendship envelops them, contrasting with their earlier discussions of this mystifying world. The strength of their bonds and the warmth of their interactions highlight the essence of their shared journey through Grimgar's fantastical landscape. Yume stares at the apples in her hand, feeling embarrassed and unsteady, seeking comfort from Shihoru. Despite being pointed out by Shihoru, Yume insists she likes the mistakes she makes. The ongoing banter among the group is lively, especially between Shihoru, who tends to imagine scenarios getting worse, and Haruhiro, who always seems nervous. Suddenly, Haruhiro finds himself immersed in his thoughts. He envisions drinking a soda, lingering around a vending machine, a familiar yet disconcerting scene. The darkness is overwhelming, and he questions, where are those empty cans pressing in from? Fragments of a voice, someone he knows, echo in the darkness, making Haruhiro feel both drawn and trapped. As someone from the machine beckons, Haruhiro yearns for connection, a way out of the darkness. The setting reminds him of his companions, Choko, Minato, Maguzo. They aren't there, and he's alone with the vending machine in complete darkness. He's frustrated and frightened by the isolation, battling his fears. Haruhiro wakes to find Mary watching over him. Their closeness stirs a mix of emotions, guilt, relief, warmth. Mary confesses her relief at his presence but also expresses worry about the future. Haruhiro struggles to find words to articulate his gratitude, acknowledging that Mary has been indispensable to their survival. They reflect on their experiences, grateful to have met each other even amidst the uncertainty. Their conversation is cut short as Haruhiro's mind races back to the events surrounding their capture by Jesseland's people. Haruhiro, now instructed to report to Jesse, speculates with Mary on what might be happening outside. The topic shifts to whispers about a potential rule of engagement between humans and orcs. While Mary shares the limited supplies they have, she offers him a flat dumpling-like thing to eat. Despite its humble appearance, the taste surprises Haruhiro. It is flavorful, providing not just sustenance but also an unexpected delight. Mary's generosity stirs something in Haruhiro, reminding him of the depth of their companionship. Mary's kind gestures, coupled with her unassuming nature, leave Haruhiro introspective about their shared journey. Haruhiro acknowledges Mary's selflessness and starts realizing the importance of their bond. Mary's quiet strength and unwavering support have been a beacon for him, pulling him from the depths of his own insecurities. This realization brings them closer, not just as comrades in arms but as individuals sharing a profound connection. Amidst the ongoing uncertainty, Haruhiro feels renewed courage. He contemplates the implications of the redback gorilla's downfall, symbolizing both the threats they faced and the strength they found within themselves. Haruhiro's narrative intertwines with thoughts about survival, leadership, and the relentless passage of time, all against the backdrop of countless challenges. Their journey is fraught with difficulties, yet Haruhiro and Mary's mutual understanding offers a glimpse of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is a light to be found in the unwavering bonds of friendship and unity. Haruhiro can hardly believe the chaotic sounds surrounding him. Drumming, cries, and screams mingle in the air, filling him with a sense of unease. Were these noises communication in the Gumoan language? The mystery deepens as he waits in the dimly lit room, filled with anxiety. Shihoru, along with Mary, brings Haruhiro out of his reverie, announcing the arrival of Jesseland's leader, a blonde-haired man carrying a torch. Haruhiro is relieved to find that Jesse is someone they can work with. His presence is warmly welcomed. Jesse reassures Haruhiro, "You're awake, here." Perfect. It looks like everyone's awake now. Their respite is short-lived as they need to further strategize. Haruhiro, thinking of his team's safety, pairs with Mary as they head down the building together. His heart is racing, the burden of leadership pressing heavy. His quick descent reflects his building tension. Outside, the villagers are on high alert, fear evident in their every move. As Haruhiro and the others step into the chaos, it's clear that the villagers aren't merely bystanders. They, too, are prepared to resist and fight back. Shihoru notes gravely, it's a real troublesome situation. Jesse steps up, having been coordinating the defense, and explains that the presence of an elite guerrilla group led by a redback, a formidable enemy, complicates matters immensely. This isn't something ordinary. In guerrilla tactics, the redback means serious trouble. Haruhiro remarks, if I were them, I'd go with a quick thrust. A meeting with Tuoki, an ally from the green-coated guerrillas, follows. Despite a language barrier, they manage to understand each other enough to plan their next move. Yume cheerfully muses, Tuokin, is Yume troubling you? Away from humor, Haruhiro is focused on understanding how they'll confront this new threat. Jesse hypothesizes that the redback leading the guerrillas doesn't typically engage unless provoked. But now, they're here, causing severe unrest. Strategies are shared. Jesse proposes a defense using guerrilla tactics themselves. Haruhiro listens closely, uneasy but determined. Setora and Enba are somewhere nearby, tasked with coordinating their actions. Jesse's plan is clear, guerrilla against guerrilla, take down the enemy with silent attacks. There's a hint of respect shared between them. Despite Haruhiro's perceived detachment, his internal conflict is ever present. He muses, we're not playing around. Yet, amidst the strategy discussions, personal reflections on leadership and the passage of time arise. Haruhiro ponders the fleeting nature of existence against the backdrop of life and death stakes. Jesse encapsulates it well, life is a game, but for Haruhiro, it feels anything but playful. The conversation takes a lighter turn, returning to the camaraderie among friends and allies. Haruhiro jokes with Jesse's female counterpart, a fierce leader Yoni, and treats her with much-needed levity in the face of such despair. Yoni firmly states, K, ensuring her commitment to their defense. Noise erupts again as drums beat persistently. Haruhiro and the team move in to confront the approaching enemies. The air is fraught with tension, as even the slightest sound could be a signal of danger. The battle drums closer. Haruhiro shouts instructions, trying to keep his team focused. Suddenly, the enemy is upon them. Yume quickly disposes of her bow, wielding her katana with practiced skill against the attackers. The clash is fierce and desperate. Haruhiro directs his team with steady calm. He fights his tendency to detach. Emotions are necessary for survival and they fuel his explosive strength, adding power to every swing and movement. Chai, chai, chai. Yume calls, her voice sharp and determined. In the thick of battle, Haruhiro maneuvers around male C, skillfully dodging attacks with evasive precision. He identifies weaknesses and strikes where he can, weaving through the frenzy. The team's coordination allows for a momentary upper hand, but the relentless guerrillas keep pressing. Haruhiro observes, even while under assault, that these foes have formidability unlike any he's faced before. His resolve never wavers, though his body begins to show signs of fatigue and injury. When a vicious attack comes Haruhiro's way, instead of faltering, he embraces the surge of emotion and urgency, steadied by past experiences. This battle, harsh as it is, proves their mettle, echoing Jess's idea that in this world, even hardship can be a game that they must play to survive. Haruhiro reflects on everything they've experienced together, growth, bonds, an unyielding determination to live. Each skirmish tests them anew, reminding him that every second counts. Haruhiro remarks inwardly, honestly, it's not enough. Their efforts culminate in disorienting the enemy, a strategic retreat gives a temporary reprieve. The battlefield grows quieter, leaving Haruhiro and his team on edge for what's to follow. The guerrillas pull back, not fully defeated, but perhaps reconsidering their next move. The conflict isn't over, but Haruhiro holds on to hope and determination that this trial will only make them stronger. As the echoes of drums eventually fade, it signifies not just the end of skirmish but also a momentary rest before the inevitable next step in their journey. There is chaos in the air as a ranger collapses near a smoldering campfire, felled by the fearsome foe known as the guerrillas. Mary rushes to his aid, desperate to check for signs of life, but the ranger is all but lost. Yoni, another witness to the horror, sees vividly that the man no longer has a face. This sudden danger grips them all with terror. As the remaining rangers draw near, they express their gratitude to the campfire as a guiding light, before another abrupt attack sends their nerves spiraling. The air is filled with an unnerving, animalistic sound, weru, ru, ru, only to stop suddenly, leaving an eerie calm and a dreadful uncertainty in its wake. Haruhiro and his comrades gather, an intense urgency set upon them. Companions like Jesse, Denko, and Kuzaku form their strategy, with Jesse immediately assessing the dire situation. Observations about the redbacks, unusually large and crafty beasts, heighten the immediacy to act. Haruhiro prays for their safety, clutching onto faint hope in the presence of brave allies who have already fallen victim. Jessie voices her concerns about the mounting threat. With several rangers already dead, the need to strategize is paramount. The tension grows. Haruhiro recognizes the courage and prowess of individuals like Setora, who may call for a risky rescue. Yet, the thought of such a mission unnerves Mary, worrying about Haruhiro's attachment to Setora. An argument brews between Haruhiro and Mary, each trying to understand the other's choices. Satora's past deeds linger heavily in the air, as Mary questions why Haruhiro values someone potentially hazardous. The discomfort lingers, as Mary wonders out loud why Haruhiro supports Setora so fiercely. As the group marches on, they seek to use the innate intelligence of Jesse and Kuzaku. Kuzaku exhibits a toughness that far surpasses appearances, while Mary discovers her resolve to support Haruhiro, even amidst discord. Yet behind each decision, a shadow of fear and uncertainty looms. Quickly navigating through their village under attack by Gumos, the group encounters chaos at every turn. Their path is fraught with deadly encounters as Gumos swarm the area. A particularly distressing moment arises when the group witnesses the horrifying behavior of the beasts, struggling to maintain their humanity amidst what seems a descent into madness. Each fight becomes a test of survival. Haruhiro directs his team against overwhelming odds, and Mary steps up to provide healing and support. The resolve of each member is tested, but they hold strong against the darkness creeping into their hearts. The strategy is key, and the party's determination grows stronger as they push forward, launching an assault on the guerrillas. Haruhiro leads the charge, careful to navigate through the terrain and maximize their advantage amidst the eerie atmosphere. The battle turns into a hunt, tests of courage and leadership arising with each decision made by Haruhiro as they delve deeper into enemy territory. Finally, amid the thick of chaos, Haruhiro contemplates the significance of this struggle. Each fallen comrade and each fought battle marks the path forward, but the weight of choices to come remains. They cannot win every fight, nor save everyone, a bitter truth they must hold as they plunge into the darkness, heartened by the hope that they will emerge on the other side, victorious. In the heat of battle, Haruhiro and his companions face the overwhelming threat of a colossal creature known as the Redback. Enba, a member of their group, displays incredible resilience by clinging to the beast despite having only one arm. Despite his determination and strength, Enba is thrown off as the monstrous beast retaliates fiercely. Haruhiro, perceptive and strategic, realizes they need to act quickly, urging Shihoru to prepare herself to harness her magical abilities. The group's teamwork becomes evident, as Yume, Setora, and Mary rally to face the threat, preparing themselves emotionally and physically to face the Redback. The urgency of the situation presses upon Haruhiro, reminding him, if this doesn't work, nothing will. As the battle intensifies, Haruhiro flings himself onto the Redback, clinging to its neck and encouraging his comrades with a desperate "come on." He attempts to distract the beast as Shihoru and the others prepare their next moves. Haruhiro's plan is fraught with peril, as he tries to give Kuzaku and the others an opportunity to strike. However, the beast's unpredictable movements throw Haruhiro off, rendering him stunned. Meanwhile, Jesse, another member of their group, invokes a powerful spell intended to disorient the Redback. But their struggle seems in vain when the Redback renews its ferocious assault, threatening to crush Kuzaku. Yet, against all odds, Kuzaku bravely confronts the beast, drawing laughter from those around him despite the chaos. His actions allow Haruhiro a brief respite to strategize. In a climactic charge, those like Mary and Yum attack with passionate fervor, but the Redback's resilience is formidable. As tension mounts, Setora surprises everyone with her courage, readying herself with a battle cry and engaging the Redback in combat, wielding a pole with determination. Amidst the chaos, Haruhiro reflects on the incredible strength of his team, recognizing the danger yet pushing forward. Kuzaku courageously delivers a vicious strike with his large katana, finding purchase in the Redback's foreboding shell-like skin. Against all expectations, the strike lands with a deep, decisive blow. The sanguine scene that follows marks a pivotal moment as the Redback falters. Blood seeps from the ghastly wound, and the impairment is clear as it writhes in pain. Haruhiro stands, awestruck by Kuzaku's surprising strength, having underestimated him in previous encounters. Yet, just as a victorious sensation looms, Haruhiro notices a shift. Other predators, the gorillas, arrive. Panic flickers as he wonders, "It's you, huh?" The trails of red creatures signal the approach of further danger, threatening to surround and engulf them. In a desperate rally, Haruhiro organizes a retreat, instructing his comrades to use the jail for refuge. Jesse takes charge in Haruhiro's absence, while Haruhiro issues commands, urging them to move swiftly. Yet, the tension tightens as the guerrillas swarm, tearing through the faltering defenses. In the ensuing melee, Yum and Setora work together, repelling attacks even as Haruhiro's stamina wanes. Mary, ever compassionate and determined, executes her role as a healer, torn between fighting and tending to the wounded. Within the confines of the jail, Haruhiro mirrors the chaos outside. The gorilla's insidious presence snakes into his mind even as he rushes to support Mary, who is weakened by the strain of battle. Her injuries take a heavy toll, and Haruhiro desperately urges her to use her magic for healing. Mary's condition leaves Haruhiro on edge. Despite his insistence, she hesitates, weakened further by her previous exertions. Haruhiro's panic is palpable as he struggles to steady his shaking hands, fearing losing her to the conflict. Amidst his turmoil, Mary manages to speak, revealing vulnerability yet a sense of peace. It's a profound moment where the bond between Mary and Haruhiro becomes evident. Her smile, amid the suffering and uncertainty, prompts Haruhiro to question, "Why are you smiling?" This charged exchange between Mary and Haruhiro distills their connection, encompassing concern, admiration, and perhaps an understanding that transcends their current dire circumstances. As they brace for what might come next, the team's shared resilience and bravery define their journey forward, even as the ominous threat of the surrounding enemies remains.